Hello, welcome to another episode of Real Talk. I'm your host, Kiera. Today we are discussing relationships, but not just your typical high school sweetheart, boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, the ultimate relationship, marriage. Now we all have our own opinions about marriage. What marriage should be, our fantasy of walking down the aisle with our Mr. Right or Prince Charming and Mrs. Right. But the fairy tale doesn't always end happily ever after. Today we have a panel discussing the meaning of marriage. And boy, do they know the meaning of marriage and not having that happy ending, some may think. As you introduce yourselves, our panel, please state your name, how long you were married, and the year you were married, and if you guys had any children. And we're going to start with you.
Okay. Thank you, Kiera, for inviting me to the show.
Definitely.
My name is Michael Butler, and I think I've been married, I'll say about just might as well say 18 years.
18 years, okay.
One daughter.
One daughter.
Right.
Okay.
My name is Patricia Dyer, and I've been married. I was married for 13 years,
13 years, okay.
and I had no children at this marriage.
Okay. Do you have any kids at all?
Yes, I do.
Okay. How many kids do you have?
I have 2 children.
2 children, okay.
Hi, my name is David Dyer. Thank you for inviting me to the panel.
Thank you for coming.
Likewise, I was married for 13 years.
13 years.
This is my ex-wife, Trisha Dyer.
Okay.
We was married for 13 years. We had no children in the marriage, and I also have 2 children, a boy and a girl. Well, 2 girls.
2 girls, okay. Good. Well, you guys all stated that, are you still married, Michael? No? All of you guys are still divorced? Okay. So you guys are no longer married. Now, my question would be, how do you feel about marriage at this point? Would you even remarry?
Yes. You know, it's all good. For me, I think that, all the ups and downs and battles that you go through, you learn something from that. If you don't learn, wow, something wrong. So, yeah, I think I would do it. I think I would give it a shot again.
Good. Still have high hopes about marriage? Miss Patricia?
I like marriage. I prefer marriage over being single. I like the idea of having a companion. I like the idea of having someone that I can speak with, I talk to, and share whatever's going on in my life. And to share their life with me. I like that.
The companionship. Okay.
So the question was, would I remarry?
Would you remarry?
Of course I would.
Okay. And why would you remarry after having a divorce?
Well, no, companionship.
Companionship.
Being able to know you're not coming home to an empty house and you're talking to the walls.
Yeah.
Just being able to share your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings. It has its rewards.
It's perks of being married.
Yes.
And having that person you can talk to and relate to and just share that bond. Well, as we all know, divorce can be caused by multiple factors such as lack of communication, infidelity, mental and physical abuse, financial disagreements, and even difference in relief and in religion and beliefs. Did any of these factors play a part in your divorce, in your marriage? Did you have any financial strains or infidelity or abuse or anything that you guys would share?
It depends on what you consider abuse. It really does. There's emotional, abuse that can be inflicted upon a person, and within a marriage.
Right.
And on the other party in the marriage, not to validate that.
Right.
Not to hear that, and not to respond to the need of their spouse, because of that.
So verbal abuse.
And there's verbal abuse, but there is also it's like not being heard. You didn't hear me.
So would that fall under your lack of communication?
It does, definitely does.
So communication has a huge part within life itself, but not only that, marriage. If you don't have the communication, would you say there's no foundation?
I'm not necessarily no foundation, because in the beginning, things may be going a certain way.
Right.
You know, but once you live with someone and you're married to them, and you live with them and you see them on a daily basis, you see everything that's going on with them, whether they're, you know, you see the good and the bad.
Right.
Okay? And there was a time when we used to go to the Word when we had a problem. And my ex-husband, he was real quick to give me the Word, you know, and I said, okay.
And you be submissive to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, but in retrospect to that, if it came from me, it was not something, it was something like, you can't do what I do. You know, you can't do what I do.
So not being
But
equally.
it was, you know, I just like to be heard, understood, and validated.
For sure. I mean,
Respected.
for sure.
I think I can relate to that too. You know, when you're married, you know, in my perspective, that, you know, I'm a man, so, you know, I'm working 2 jobs, you know what I'm saying? I come from the old school.
Right.
You know, I didn't want my wife to work. So,
You provided.
Yeah, I want her to stay at home, watch the baby, cook food, make sure
Right.
she's all right, you know, and stuff like that. And sometimes that we get in some kind of, you know, trap. We try to be the, you know,
Right.
the man and all that. And sometimes the main thing to go wrong, we don't listen. And and I know that probably caused a woman a lot of damage or whatever. But,
Right.
You know, but you know me, I don't mean that. I just got a lot of things in my mind, and she might want to talk to me. I said, I ain't got time right now. I don't want to hear that.
Right.
But yeah, that goes on, but that don't. In my case, didn't bring up no divorce though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So
Didn't
now,
bring on the divorce?
No,
Don't you
no.
think?
I
don't
mean,
you
not
think,
in my case, it didn't.
Well, you know, but don't you think that can have an effect on, as time goes by in the relationship, on whether the marriage is good, whether there's good feelings about, you know, my spouse, or he has good feelings about me. He goes out, she goes out, the woman goes out, or the man goes out, and has deals with the public, and they ask, "Where's your wife?" or "Where's your husband?"
so upholding you in a marriage and
Right.
demonstrating that you care.
And being able to just being able to have that kind of relationship where you can do that, but if you're not communicating, that's just like I said, go that communication thing. I'm not. I can't. I don't want to hear that. That doesn't work for me.
Okay.
That doesn't work for me.
I'm curious to know what Mr. David, I mean, his rebuttal, because you were married, and I'm curious to know what your rebuttal would be to hearing what Ms. Patricia is stating, like feeling appreciated or that lack of communication. If you don't mind sharing, were these, did you see on your end of the spectrum that these were big obstacles in your marriage at that time?
Well, of course, I had to see it. And first of all, if you do not continue the same communication that started the relationship into the marriage, it's going to fall apart.
Okay.
Okay. Second of all, we have to realize that our DNA is different. Men and women's DNA is different, and our intake is going to be different. First of all, let me beat the men up first.
Okay. So
On this, because now a woman that studies a man more than a man will study a woman, okay? And so we lose that communication thing there. And so feelings and emotions and thoughts all come together. But The man, most of all, wants control and wants to be in control.
But I would say to that, what was your outlook on what Miss Patricia would say?
I'm telling
What would
you
your
outlook.
rebuttal be for your personal
My
experience?
personal experience is this. A lot of that was my fault. Don't get me wrong. I believe most divorces happen because of the shortcomings of the man inside the communication and relationship.
For sure.
I believe that. Okay. However, there's never a one-sided thing. It takes two to tangle. Okay?
And one to walk away.
And it takes two to walk away.
No, it takes, in my case, our case, it took one because I wasn't the one that wanted it. He was.
But-
Okay.
And
So-
she's right. She's right about that.
I wanted counseling.
She wanted counseling. I didn't want the counsel of someone outside. Am I wrong about that? I could be in some people's eyesight, but I don't have to be within my eyesight when it comes to the Word of God.
Well, since you bring up God, I'm curious to know, now, did religion play a big role in your decision in divorce? Did you consider, if you have that religious background, what role it played?
Well,
to
for
you?
me, in the eyes of God, I'm still married to this man. You know, I told him, and he told me also when we first got married, I ain't getting married again.
Okay.
This is it.
Okay.
You know, and I know how I felt when I came into the relationship.
You were his rib, and that was
You
it.
know, I definitely, I felt as if God had, it was something that was the chemistry, or something that was just so powerful. You know, in the beginning, when we first met each other, when we first, from the time that I guess he laid eyes, I laid eyes on him. I don't know whether it was the same from him, but it was for me. And I, you know, the world ain't got nothing to do with how I feel about marriage to this man.
Okay.
My marriage is still going on as far as God's concerned.
Okay. Before I get to Mr. David to hear that rebuttal, I just want to know really quick, did religion play a role at all in your divorce and in your marriage?
Yeah, but it really did. I mean, like, church guy, religious guy, you know, blessed, you know, and so, you know, I mean, like, you know, I look back over my life and I said, God had really blessed us, you know, and you know, good jobs,
Yeah.
you know, never know nothing about hunger.
Right.
And, you know, God had been good. I mean, really good. And, yeah.
Played a
That
huge
part
role.
right there that's what did it. Played a
Huge
really
part.
big, because, you know, I was ashamed. You know what I'm saying?
And
Everybody-
shame sticks with you.
I mean, it
over
tears
embarrassment.
It tears you down because, you know, if you're a baby in Christ, you know what I'm saying? And back then, you know, young guy, you know, and
In the life, in the
yeah,
world.
yeah, you know, in church, you know, and everybody looking up to you, and you bringing the guy home, and letting him, you know, put him on the tux, and, you know what I'm saying? You know, going to the wedding. And
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just a thing that in that situation right there, that caused a whole big thing with me because everybody's different. And like back then, I didn't know how to really adjust. I didn't know how to open up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I was just carrying all the load inside.
Well, since you all have children, and even though if it wasn't with the marriage or outside of the marriage, or you guys met with your children, how did the divorce play a role with your children, positive and negatively?
Positively, in the fact that they were okay with that. I was okay. I was better than I was when it first started. The ball first started rolling. I was in a real bad place, and I didn't like that. And they didn't like see me like that.
Right. You're really quiet.
Well, first of all, the divorce, religion did have a lot to do with it, okay? And second of all, my children mostly stayed out of my relationship and my marriage. They had their little opinions, but I didn't allow that to affect me.
Right.
Okay.